The Vex Armada darkened the skies of Altair Prime as Admiral Kress watched from the command center of the last Coalition stronghold. Debris from shattered Coalition vessels littered the upper atmosphere, glinting like dying stars against the blackness of space. 3 months of relentless assault had reduced the once proud Coalition forces to a handful of battered ships and this final ground base. "Status report," Kress demanded, her 4 eyes blinking in sequence as she scanned the holographic battle map. Commander Trill, his gray skin ashen with exhaustion, gestured toward the display. "The orbital defenses are at 12% capacity. Ground shields will fail within 6 hours. The Vex have deployed landing craft to sectors 7 through 13. And our reinforcements." Trill's mandibles clicked nervously. No response from any Coalition worlds. The communication blackout appears complete. Kress had expected this answer, but hearing it spoken aloud still felt like a physical blow. The coalition of allied worlds, spanning 27 star systems and 18 sentient species, stood on the brink of extinction. The Vex had emerged from unknown space 8 standard cycles ago, their hive mind consciousness bent on one purpose: to consume all worlds in their path. "What about the beacon?" Kress asked, turning to Science Officer Brill. Brill's single eye rotated toward her. "The quantum beacon continues transmitting on all frequencies, including the primitive radio waves." "But Admiral," his voice trailed off. "Speak freely, Brill. The nearest potential allies who might receive it are the humans of Sol system. We dismissed their membership application to the Coalition 3 cycles ago, citing their technological immaturity and volatile nature." Kress's upper lip curled. "I remember. Their delegation was most displeased. The Coalition Security Council had found humans too unpredictable, too aggressive, and frankly, too dangerous to include in their peaceful alliance. Humans had only recently achieved faster-than-light travel, but their history was filled with warfare and violent innovation. The Coalition prized harmony and cooperation. Humans seemed to thrive on conflict and competition. Even if they receive our distress call," Trill said, "why would they respond? We rejected them." Kress moved to the viewport, watching as another defensive satellite burned through the atmosphere. "Because we have something in common now. The Vex will not stop with us. Earth is merely 17 light-years beyond Altair. They'll be next." A thunderous impact shook the command center, sending dust cascading from the ceiling. Alarm klaxons wailed. "Vex breacher units have penetrated Sector 4, a tactical officer shouted. "Divert security teams," Kress ordered, "and prepare the final data package for the beacon. Include all our intelligence on Vex biology, technology, and battle tactics." "Admiral," Brill said hesitantly, "the humans may use this information to develop weapons the Coalition has forbidden." Kress's 4 eyes narrowed. "The Coalition's ethical restrictions seem rather academic now, don't they?" She returned to the command table, studying the holographic representation of the approaching doom. The Vex operated with a singular unified intelligence distributed across billions of drone bodies. They had no concept of surrender or negotiation, only consumption and expansion. "Send the package," she ordered, "and add a personal message from me." Her claws clicked across the input terminal. "To the people of Earth, we once judged you unworthy of our alliance because we feared your warlike nature. Now we pray that nature may save us all. The Vex cannot be reasoned with. They cannot be appeased. If we fall, you are next. Help us and save yourselves." As the message transmitted into the void, Kress wondered if humanity would answer their call, and whether their response would be salvation or merely vengeance. General Marcus Reed stared at the decoded alien transmission, his weathered face illuminated by the soft blue glow of the holographic display. The message had arrived 3 days ago, picked up by the Deep Space Listening Post on Europa. Since then, the United Earth Defense Force had been on high alert. "You're certain this is authentic?" he asked the analyst seated across from him. Dr. Anna Wells nodded, tucking a strand of gray hair behind her ear. The quantum signature matches what we have on file for coalition communications, and the distress pattern is consistent with emergency protocols we observed during first contact. Reed's jaw tightened. First contact with the coalition had been a diplomatic disaster. Humanity had hoped to join the interstellar community, offering their unique perspectives and technologies in exchange for access to advanced alien science. Instead, they'd been politely but firmly rejected, deemed too unpredictable, too violent, and too primitive. President Ortega is waiting for your assessment, Admiral Jones said from the other end of the briefing room. Do we have the capability to respond? Reed gestured to the tactical display. We're not the peaceful starfarers the coalition wanted us to be. That's for damn sure. But we've been preparing for exactly this scenario since the rejection. The room fell silent as Reed expanded the hologram to show the Earth Defense Fleet. 27 warships, bristling with railguns, missile pods, and energy weapons that would have horrified the pacifistic coalition species. Project Sentinel can be deployed within 72 hours, Reed continued. The Vex, according to coalition intelligence, operate as a hive mind with distributed processing. That gives us an opening. Dr. Wells tapped her tablet, bringing up the biological scans included in the coalition's data package. Their neural pathways are susceptible to specific electromagnetic frequencies. If we can deploy the disruptor technology we've been developing, we could effectively scramble their coordination. Reed finished. Buy time for a counteroffensive. Admiral Jones leaned forward. The real question is, should we help them? The coalition made it clear they wanted nothing to do with us. Reed's face hardened. This isn't about them anymore. The Vex are 17 light-years away. If Altair Prime falls, we're next. I'd rather fight them there than in Earth's orbit. The room's eye assistant chimed in, its neutral voice filling the chamber. Tactical analysis complete. Coalition forces at Altair Prime estimated to collapse within 48 hours without intervention. Probability of successful defense with UEDF assistance, 63.7%. Not great odds, Jones muttered. Better than zero, Reed countered. He stood, decision made. Prepare the fleet. I'll brief the president. 6 hours later, Reed stood on the bridge of the UESS Thermopylae, Earth's flagship. Around him, 26 other warships broke formation with the orbital defense grid, their fusion drives powering up. Lieutenant Commander Jack Torres approached with a data pad. All ships report ready, sir. Jump coordinates locked for Altair Prime. Reed nodded, gazing out at the assembled fleet. Humanity had spent the years since their rejection preparing for war, not against the coalition, but against whatever threats might be lurking in the darkness between stars. Send a message to Altair Prime, Reed ordered. Simple text only. Coalition Command. This is General Marcus Reed of the United Earth Defense Force. We received your call. Help is coming. Hold the line. The bridge crew worked with quiet efficiency, preparing the experimental FTL drives that would carry them to battle. Reed knew this would be humanity's first interstellar war, a baptism by fire. General, Torres said quietly, the coalition rejected us because they feared our capacity for violence. Are we about to prove them right? Reed's expression remained impassive. No, Commander. We're going to prove that humanity's greatest strength isn't our capacity for violence. It's our refusal to abandon those in need, even those who turned their backs on us. As the countdown to jump began, Reed studied the tactical data on the Vex. The coalition had built their society on peaceful coexistence and diplomacy. They had never anticipated a threat that couldn't be reasoned with, couldn't be appeased. Humanity, with its bloody history, knew better. Admiral Kress dragged herself through the smoke-filled corridor, one arm hanging useless at her side. The command center had been breached 20 minutes ago. Now she and the surviving senior staff were making their last stand in the quantum communications hub. Seal the blast doors, she ordered, collapsing against a console. Medical Officer Prell moved to her side, applying emergency sealant to the wound on her thorax. "The beacon is still transmitting," Brill reported, his normally pristine white coat stained with the blue-green blood of their species. "But there's been no response." Commander Trill finished barricading the entrance with overturned equipment. "The outer perimeter is lost. Vex breacher units are in the main atrium. We have perhaps 10 minutes." Cress closed her upper eyes in momentary despair. The Coalition fleet was scattered or destroyed. Ground forces were being systematically eliminated. And humanity, their last desperate hope, had apparently decided to let them fall. "I can't say I blame them," she said quietly. "We rejected their outstretched hand. Why should they offer it again?" A young communications officer suddenly straightened at her station. "Admiral, I'm detecting multiple quantum displacements at the edge of the system." "Vex reinforcements?" Trill asked grimly. "No, sir. The energy signatures are unfamiliar." The officer's antenna quivered with excitement. "Incoming transmission, text only." The message appeared on the main screen. "Coalition Command. This is General Marcus Reed of the United Earth Defense Force. We receive your call. Help is coming. Hold the line." For a moment, no one spoke. Then the tactical display lit up with new contacts. 27 vessels of unknown configuration, moving at tremendous speed toward Altair Prime. "Analysis," Cress demanded, newfound energy surging through her injured body. "The ships are smaller than our cruisers, but energy readings suggest advanced weapon systems," the tactical officer reported. "They're engaging the Vex outer perimeter." The display showed the human vessels dispersing into a complex formation, targeting Vex command ships with precision strikes. Their tactics were unlike anything Cress had seen. Aggressive, unpredictable, almost chaotic in execution, yet clearly coordinated. The humans fight differently, Trill observed, mandibles clicking in surprise. "The Vex operate on predictive algorithms," Brill said, his eye widening. "They anticipate responses based on established patterns. The Coalition has standardized tactical doctrines across all member species. But humans improvise," Cress finished. "They're introducing chaos into an ordered system." The communications officer interrupted again. "Admiral, incoming transmission, audio and visual." The screen shifted to show a human male with short gray hair and determined eyes. The bridge behind him was a flurry of activity. "Admiral Cress, General Marcus Reed, United Earth Defense Force. We've engaged the Vex fleet in the outer atmosphere. Our ground forces will deploy to your position in approximately 7 minutes. Can you hold that long?" Cress straightened to her full height, ignoring the pain. "General Reed, the Coalition is grateful for your assistance. We can hold." Reed nodded sharply. "We've analyzed the Vex neural patterns from your data package. Our ships are deploying electromagnetic disruptors that should temporarily scramble their hive mind communication. It won't last long, but it should buy us time to extract your personnel." Another explosion rocked the facility, closer this time. "The Vex are at the secondary blast doors," Trill reported. Reed's expression hardened as he heard this. "Change of plans. We're deploying directly to your position. Prepare for immediate extraction." The screen went dark, and Cress turned to her remaining staff. "Prepare all remaining data cores for transport. We cannot allow Coalition technology to fall into Vex control." As her officers rushed to comply, Cress moved to the viewport. In the sky above, she could see flashes of light as the human ships engaged the Vex fleet. Their tactics were shocking. Deliberate collisions, suicide runs that ended with massive explosions, ships flying dangerously close to one another in coordinated attacks. "They fight like they have nothing to lose," Trill said, coming to stand beside her. "No," Cress replied softly. "They fight like they have everything to lose." The chamber shuddered as the blast doors began to glow red from Vex cutting beams. Then, with a deafening roar, the ceiling exploded inward. But instead of Vex drones, armored human soldiers dropped through the opening, weapons at the ready. Admiral Kress. A soldier stepped forward, visor retracting to reveal a woman's face. Captain Lisa Moore, UEDF Special Tactics. We're here to get you out. The UVSS Thermopyla's war room hummed with activity as holographic displays showed the ongoing battle for Altair Prime. General Reed stood at the central table alongside Admiral Kress and her surviving officers, the unlikely allies united by necessity. The neural disruptors buy us minutes at most before the Vex adapt, Reed explained, pointing to clusters of enemy ships that were regrouping after the initial human assault. We need to strike their command node while they're disorganized. Kress studied the tactical display with all four eyes, impressed despite herself. The humans had achieved in hours what the coalition forces couldn't accomplish in months, forcing the Vex into a defensive posture. Your tactics are unorthodox, she admitted. Commander Trill was less diplomatic. You sacrifice ships and personnel deliberately. The coalition would never approve such methods. Reed's expression remained impassive. With respect, Commander, the coalition's methods left you sending distress calls to species you previously rejected. We fight to win. Before Trill could respond, Science Officer Brill interrupted. General Reed's approach has merit. The Vex operate on consensus algorithms. They cannot comprehend self-sacrifice or seemingly irrational tactical choices, which is exactly why humanity has an edge, Dr. Wells added, entering the war room with a data tablet. We've completed analysis of the Vex command structure based on coalition intelligence and our own observations. She expanded a holographic model of what appeared to be a massive Vex vessel at the heart of their fleet. This is their central processing hub, what we're calling the Queen Ship. It coordinates all Vex activities within this star system. Our disruptors are forcing them to centralize more processing power in this single location to maintain control. Reed nodded, creating a critical vulnerability. If we can destroy the Queen Ship, the entire Vex force in this system will be thrown into disarray. But the ship is protected by multiple layers of defense, Admiral Jones pointed out. A conventional attack would never penetrate their screens. Then we don't use a conventional attack, Reed said. He turned to Kress. Admiral, does the coalition have any remaining stealth vessels in the system? Kress's mandibles tightened. 1. The Whisper. It's damaged but operational, designed for reconnaissance, not combat. Perfect. Reed manipulated the tactical display. We load the Whisper with our most powerful electromagnetic disruptor. It penetrates the Vex defense screen under stealth, then detonates the disruptor at the heart of the Queen Ship. Captain Moore frowned. Sir, the Whisper would need a pilot. The radiation from the disruptor would be fatal. A heavy silence fell over the war room. I will pilot the Whisper, Trill said unexpectedly. All eyes turned to the coalition commander. My species is more resistant to electromagnetic radiation than most. I might survive long enough to complete the mission. Kress began to object, but Trill raised a hand. Admiral, with respect, this is the logical choice. And he glanced at the humans. Perhaps it is time we learned from our allies' capacity for self-sacrifice. Reed studied the alien commander with newfound respect. We'll provide you with radiation shielding and remote detonation systems to maximize your chances. There's something else, Dr. Wells interjected. We've been analyzing the quantum communication patterns between Vex units. They appear to be transmitting data back to their origin point, somewhere beyond coalition space. They're reporting on us, Reed concluded, learning our tactics, our technologies. If we succeed here, but they adapt to our methods, then this is merely the first battle of a longer war. Kress finished, her four eyes blinking in sequence. All the more reason to ensure this victory is decisive. The plan came together quickly. The human fleet would launch a full frontal assault on the Vex Armada, drawing attention away from the Whisper's approach. Coalition evacuation ships would prepare to jump to Earth space under human escort once the Queen Ship was neutralized. As the officers dispersed to their positions, Reed found himself alone with Admiral Kress. "You could have ignored our call," she said quietly. After how the Coalition treated humanity, many would have considered it justice. Reed looked out the viewport at the battle raging around Altair Prime. "My ancestors fought wars over differences far smaller than those between our species. They learned, eventually, that survival often depends on helping those you disagree with. And if we survive this," Kress asked, "what then? Will humanity seek membership in the Coalition again?" Reed smiled thinly. "I think we're beyond that now, Admiral. The Coalition needs humanity, not as supplicants seeking admission, but as equals bringing different strengths to a common fight." As the final preparations for the assault began, Reed couldn't help but reflect on the irony. Humanity had been rejected for being too warlike, too unpredictable. Now those very qualities might save the galaxy. The celebration in the Grand Assembly Hall of Earth's United Nations complex was subdued despite the victory. Representatives from 17 coalition worlds sat alongside human dignitaries, the formal signing of the Human Coalition Defense Pact minutes away. Admiral Kress, now bearing the ceremonial scars of survival, stood at the podium addressing the assembled delegates. 3 standard cycles ago, the Coalition rejected humanity's application for membership, she began, her translated voice echoing through the chamber. "We cited concerns about human aggression, unpredictability, and technological focus on weaponry. We believe these traits made humanity incompatible with our peaceful alliance." She paused, her 4 eyes scanning the room. "We were wrong. When the Vex came, our pacifism became our weakness. Our predictability became our vulnerability. And when we faced extinction, it was humanity's warrior spirit that saved us." On the chamber's main display, footage played of the battle's defining moment. Commander Trill piloting the Whisper through the Vex defenses, the massive electromagnetic pulse that followed crippling the Queen ship. Trill had survived, barely, recovered by a daring human rescue operation. "The cost was high," Kress continued. 6 human vessels lost, thousands of lives, both human and Coalition. But Altair Prime stands. And more importantly, we have gained crucial intelligence about the enemy we all now face. Dr. Wells took the podium next, displaying analysis of the data recovered from the disabled Queen ship. "The Vex are not merely invaders, they're scouts for a much larger force," she explained. "Their home system lies 60 light-years beyond Coalition space. Based on transmission patterns, we estimate a second wave will arrive within 2 standard years." President Ortega of Earth rose to speak. 2 years to prepare for an enemy that now knows our tactics, an enemy that adapts, learns, and evolves. General Reed, standing at attention nearby, studied the faces of the Coalition representatives. Many showed signs of what humans would call shock. Their societies had never faced existential threats before encountering the Vex. "The defense pact before you today is unprecedented," Ortega continued. "It proposes integration of human and Coalition technologies, joint military operations, and shared intelligence. But most importantly, it recognizes our complementary strengths." Reed had helped draft the key provision himself. "The Coalition brings wisdom accumulated over millennia of peaceful cooperation. Humanity brings innovation born from millennia of conflict. Together, we create something neither could achieve alone." The signing proceeded solemnly. As the ceremony concluded, Kress approached Reed privately. "Commander Trill will recover fully," she informed him. "He speaks highly of your rescue teams." Reed nodded. "He's a brave soldier. I've recommended him for Earth's Valor Cross, a military decoration." Kress seemed surprised. "The Coalition has no such honors." "Perhaps you should consider instituting some," Reed suggested. "Recognition of sacrifice inspires others." They moved to the viewport overlooking New York Harbor, where Coalition and human ships floated side by side. Below them, in the shipyards, construction had already begun on new vessels combining Coalition quantum technology with human weapon systems. "The Coalition Council has approved accelerated membership for humanity," Kress said. "Full integration within 1 standard cycle." Reed shook his head. With respect, Admiral, we're declining full membership for now. Cress's mandibles clicked in surprise. The coalition needs to reform before we can truly join, Reed explained. Your peaceful ideals are admirable, but peace requires the strength to defend it. Humanity won't abandon our capacity for warfare, not when that capacity just saved both our civilizations. And when the next Vex wave arrives? Cress asked. Reed's expression hardened as he looked toward the stars, visible now in the darkening sky. When they come, he'll find something they've never encountered before, the wisdom and technology of the coalition, guided by humanity's indomitable will to survive. Cress followed his gaze upward. The Vex believed victory was theirs, until humanity answered our call. No, Reed corrected her gently. Until we answered each other's call. Neither of us could have won alone. Together, we're something new. As night fell over Earth, vessels from 28 worlds maintained their vigil in orbit, sentinels against the darkness to come, and proof that sometimes the most unlikely alliances forge the strongest shields.